Quickly, we need to cross over to the NPP headquarters. We understand there's a press briefing ongoing there being addressed by Boabian Samoa, Director of Communications. Let's hear what they're saying.
Congress can sustain this dance. We, the New Patriotic Party, are different. The NPP is different from the NDC. Given the same set of governance challenges, whether of ideology, leadership style, institutional respect and reform, economic management, social inclusion, citizen responsiveness, accountability, and electoral process integrity, the NPP, though far less longer cumulatively in government than the NDC, performs far better in the interests of Ghana. The immediate instance of the Yawasu West Wuogon by-election demonstrates this very clearly. Whilst President Akufo-Addo condemned the violence, John Mahama encouraged violence, threatening boot for boot and claiming superiority in the use of violence. When the president responded to public concern with a commission of inquiry, John Mahama rubbished the eminent persons and chose to peddle cheap falsehoods to the diplomatic community. It would be interesting to see if the former president is bold and humble enough to apologize and or show videos of the violence in his party to the international community, knowing that in the case of NDC violence, there is a confirmed death, whilst rumors of several deaths peddled by the NDC leadership in Ayawasu West Wuogon proved to be untrue. But lest we forget, the former president's disrespect for our institutions of law and security go way back. He refused to attend on the Supreme Court hearing during the election petition of 2013. And then, after not going to court for 8 months, pretending to be governing the country, he turned around to blame his abysmal failures of governance on the court case. In the light of the above context, we ask the NDC to strengthen its newfound faith in the police by extending it to an unequivocal endorsement of the commission, the short commission that is. If that happens, stakeholders across the governance landscape, in conjunction with the major parties and security services, can then encourage the commission to spread its tentacles wide and draw conclusions capable of dealing with the alarming trend of political blackmail that we have now. The voting public is thirsty for workable solutions, and the NDC's flip-flopping between police and commission as it suits their political agenda cannot be credible or attractive to the voting public. Be that as it may, we, the NPP, believe and insist we are different. The record of the NPP and its antecedents show governance with tact, innovation, sensitivity, and decisiveness. Of the 62 years since independence, the NPP tradition has had a little over 12 years in total to govern. President Buzia, Prime Minister Buzia had 27 months. President Kufuor had 8 years, and now His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo is just beginning his 3rd year, which means he's had 2 years, a total of a little over 12 years. And yet, our record of governance belies this short time we've had in power. And that is why today we're asking Ghana to refocus away from the orchestrated talk of violence, which is an agenda set by our political opponents, and focus on the bread and butter issues that influence our lives for the better. We are good at the bread and butter issues. We want you to come on board. We are asking the NDC for a viable policy debate as we go into this year of action. I want to show you some headlines. And you will realize, because you generate those headlines, you will realize that we are working. And yet the MDC will have us believe that everything is doom and gloom. In the past 10 days, not more than 2 weeks, Daily Graphic February 11, Monday. God has blessed Ghana abundantly. President says it's motivation to build National Cathedral. The police work here. 8 arrested for abducting Achim Abodom chief. Police are working. Education. Make GTU see a fully fledged university. This is interesting. UDS alumni refurbish facilities and present vehicles to university. Civil society in action. Same Monday, February 11. Ghana to host German African Summit. Ghana has become a destination not only for investors generally, but for very, very high-profile international personalities and blue-chip companies worldwide. Esther Oklu at 100. I didn't hear any NDC comment on that. Mandates for regions ready. And then the intrepid Minister of Education. World-class education needs world-class teachers. BNFT. What does it say? Government to reclaim land along 550-kilometer coastline. That is a major, major infrastructure intervention. Free zone 6 land from chiefs. Land is at the basis of investment. More local investors show interest in economy. So we are talking business, it means we are creating jobs. And then on the back page, the Vice President says we are on course to meet the single currency criteria for West Africa. I'll show you a couple more. BNFT again. I'm interested because that's where you create wealth. Inflation drops to 6-year low. This is the 14th, right? Yeah. Inflation drops to 6-year low. When Chi Agri Station land under siege. So you have a situation where land policy is an issue. We are yet to hear the NDC on that. Phytosanitary and quality concerns remain. Our trade with the EU. How do we standardize? How do we ensure regularity and consistency in our exports so that our trading partners can rely on us? These are matters of bread and butter. It affects our farmers, it affects foreign exchange, and it affects our quality of life in Ghana. Turkish Airlines, Siemens. That's interesting. You all know Siemens. Siemens working with Westpac to build first industrial and business park. And then there's something about Guinness Ghana. So, what we are saying is that the NDC is not performing a civic obligation to the people who believe in it in this country. Its support base is being cheated of the right to quality political discourse. This gloom and doom approach and this attempt to create fear of elections, going as far as denigrating the country's image on the international scene, does not wash with voters in Ghana who want to see a change in their lives. Let us ask them about the economy. The NDC should come out and tell us how they built a deficit, an astronomical debt. And we will tell them how we are managing the debt and passing laws and setting up frameworks to control deficits. Indeed, is the NDC aware that the Fiscal Responsibility Act, 2016, Act 982, has been passed? And that, after that act, no government's deficits ought to go beyond 5% by law. They are fond of running deficits in election years. Is the former president and the NDC leadership aware that a Fiscal Responsibility Advisory Council and a Financial Stability Council have been established? Is the former president aware that the Nanado-led MPP government has boldly and decisively dealt with the banking sector crisis he left the nation with? And what is his stake, if any, on the eventual successful conclusion of the IMF ECF program that he woefully failed to pass. And left us by the wayside. We took over, and within 2 years, we've stabilized whatever mess he created, which made him take us to the IMF. What is the former president's take on our dealings with the IMF? The report card he received from the IMF, and what does the leadership of the current NDC say about this failure seeking to lead them back into government?
So those are coming to you live from the NPP headquarters. That is the National Communications Director there speaking about what happened yesterday at the NDC headquarters. Of course, we'll get some responses from the NDC as well on that. He's basically accusing the NDC of being violent regarding what happened yesterday. Let's get on the lines now. I do have Joshua Kamba, National Organizer for the NDC, to respond to these concerns that they're raising. Mr. Kamba, thank you very much for your time this afternoon.
Good evening to your cherished listeners.
All right. So I believe that you were listening to Mr. Boabing whilst he spoke.
The line was a bit faint, but if you ask the questions in relation to what he's saying, then I'll be able to answer.
So one of the things he said is that he's basically attributing what happened yesterday regarding the gunshots we heard at your party's headquarters in the Ashanti region yesterday to comments made by the former president that the NDC will meet the NPP boot for boot.
I am very sure that you would agree with me that if there's anybody for us to blame in respect of any violence in this country, it is Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo who should be blamed. One, this is the man that in 2012, he had declared that they have a militant group. We all saw it. I mean, we have had President Rawlings' regime, we have had President Kufuor's regime, we have had His Excellency President Mills' regime, and His Excellency President Mohamed regime, that this country was so peaceful. I mean, we had issues of vigilante groups, but what we are experiencing now is something we have never experienced. You and I will agree that even before 2012, how people were bound with acid in the headquarters of the MPP, how the headquarters even of the MPP became a violent area where civil society groups have said that it was a dangerous area for anybody to move around that place. And I have said that let nobody think that this violence was perpetrated by an NDC person. We are still investigating the information we are getting, and we have always been getting some information that the MPP had made up its mind that it was trying to get certain things to do to cause some kind of tension within the NDC to be able to achieve what they are achieving.
Two things you are doing right now, Mr. Kamba. You're saying that first of all, you're saying nobody should say that this was caused by an NDC person. If you say that an investigation is still ongoing, how do you come to that conclusion?
What I'm saying is that we have done some investigations on our own, and the information we are getting soon, I'm sure that it won't be long. We will also come out with some answers. But I can tell you that the MPP has a lot of plans. If I meet your news editor, I would even send some information to you for you to put on your media house to see what the MPP has been trying to do to get the NDC to equalize.
That's the second thing.
Attack of the NDC
Mr. Kamba, that's the second thing you're doing, saying that the NPP basically is responsible for what happened?
Yes, because, I mean...
What's the evidence, sir?
If you see that people just rode motorbikes, came to the party office, started shooting and killing, and then the NDC, can you see the conflicting, yesterday the Ashanti Regional Police Command had a press conference, the National Police Command in Accra, what were they all rushing to do? What were they all rushing to do? The NPP today has also rushed to a press conference. It should tell you that this is something that they were already expecting, and they've seen it. And
but
that we will come out with the other side of it. That's why we are calling on the police to investigate this matter, that whoever is culpable should be arrested and put before the court for trial.
Right.
We will not shield any criminal activities in this country.
One other thing they accuse you of doing is that you are attempting to create fears around elections because we are getting to election 2020. That this is a deliberate attempt by the NDC to create a certain fear around that.
If anybody who tried to create fear. You and I was on cases still there where the police said that they put on masks because of mosquitoes. You are covering that thing. If there's anybody who will create fear, is the MPP when they were shielded and protected by a police commander to shoot out to innocent citizens of this country. If there's anybody that's creating fear, it is
again,
MPP
that's an allegation you do not have enough evidence to substantiate.
Which evidence are you talking about?
You're saying a police commander ordered someone to shoot at people?
I mean, you have heard a police
We've lost Joshua Kamba there. But Joshua Kamba, he's the national organizer of the NDC, responding to some concerns or some accusations being leveled against the party, of course, by their counterpart. That's the party in government, the NPP. They just organized a press conference which was addressed by Mr. Boabeng.